Hello, welcome to day of reading through the Bible. I'm Toni Henderson-Mayers. I'll be your reader. I'm known as an actor, a director, producer, professor, but most important, I'm a child of God. And I'm also known as an entrepreneur too, as well. If you want to know more about me, join my Toni Henderson-Mayers YouTube channel. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe and ring the notification bell for that channel and this one so you'll know every time I upload a new video. So, you ready to read God's word? Let's go. Judges 6 and 7. But the reason why I hesitated, we need to take some time and celebrate. Ooh. I know you're saying, why are we celebrating? We are a quarter of the way through our daily reading of the Bible. Yes, indeed, a quarter of the way through. I'm so proud of you. Oh my gosh, look how far you made it. Look what you're doing. Aren't you proud of yourself? This is so great. This is great. This is awesome. And we are in the book of Judges, and it's going to just go up from here. So let's read. All right, chapter 6, Gideon. The Israelites did evil in the eyes of the Lord, and for 7 years he gave them into the hands of the Midianites. Because the power of Midian was so oppressive, the Israelites prepared shelters for themselves in the mountain cliffs, caves, and strongholds. Whenever the Israelites planted their crops, the Midianites, Amalekites, I know this word for some reason I can't, Amalekites, can't read for some reason today. This is my third reading today. And other Eastern people invaded the country. They camped on the land and ruined the crops all the way to Gaza and did not spare a living thing for Israel, neither sheep nor cattle nor donkeys. They came up from their livestock and their tents like swarms of locusts. It was impossible to count them on their camels. They invaded the land to ravage it. Midian so impoverished the Israelites that they cried out to the Lord for help. When the Israelites cried out to the Lord because of Midian, he sent them a prophet who said, "This is what the Lord, the God of Israel, says. I brought you out of Egypt, out of the land of slavery. I rescued you from the hand of the Egyptians, and I delivered you from the hand of your oppressors. I drove them out before you and gave you their lands. I said to you, I am the Lord your God. Do not worship the gods of the Amorites, in whose land you live, but you have not listened to me." The angel of the Lord came and sat down under the oak in Oprah, but he belonged. Let me just say that again. The angel of the Lord came and sat down under the oak in Oprah that belonged to Joash the Abiezrite, where his son Gideon was threshing wheat in a winepress to keep it from the Midianites. When the angel of the Lord appeared to Gideon, he said, "The Lord is with you, mighty warrior." "Pardon me, my Lord," Gideon replied. "But if the Lord is with us, why has all this happened to us? Where are all the wonders that our ancestors told us about when they said, 'Did not the Lord bring us up out of Egypt?' But now the Lord has abandoned us and given us to the hand of Midian." The Lord turned to him and said, "Go in the strength you have and save Israel out of the Midian's hands. And am I not sending you?" "Pardon me, my Lord," Gideon replied, "but how can I save Israel? My clan is the weakest in Manasseh, and I am the least in my family." The Lord answered, "I will be with you, and you will strike down all the Midianites, leaving none alive." Gideon replied, "If now I have found favor in your eyes, give me a sign that it is really you talking to me. Please do not go away until I come back and bring my offering and set it before you." And the Lord said, "I will wait until you return." Gideon went inside, prepared a young goat, and from an ephah of flour, he made bread without yeast. Gideon knows something, don't he? Okay. Putting the meat in a basket and its broth in a pot, he brought them out and offered them to him under the oak. The angel of God said to him, "Take the meat and the unleavened bread, place them on this rock, and pour out the broth." And Gideon did so. Then the angel of the Lord touched the meat and the unleavened bread with the tip of the staff that was in his hand. Fire flared from the rock, consuming the meat and the bread. And the angel of the Lord disappeared. When Gideon realized that it was the angel of the Lord, he exclaimed, "Alas, sovereign Lord, I have seen the angel of the Lord face to face." But the Lord said to him, "Peace, do not be afraid. You are not going to die." I mean, I'd have been scared. So Gideon built an altar to the Lord there and called it, "The Lord is Peace." To this day, it stands in Ophrah of the Abarites. That same night, the Lord said to him, "Take the second bull from your father's herd, the one 7 years old, tear down your father's altar to Baal, and cut down the Asherah pole beside it. Then build a proper kind of altar to the Lord your God on the top of this height. Using the wood of the Asherah pole that you cut down, offer the second bull as a burnt offering." So Gideon took 10 of his servants and did as the Lord told him. But because he was afraid of his family and the townspeople, he did it at night rather than in the daytime. In the morning, when the people of the town got up, there was Baal's altar demolished, with the Asherah pole beside it cut down, and the second bull sacrificed on the newly built altar. They asked each other, "Who did this?" When they carefully investigated it, they were told Gideon, son of Joash, did it. The people of the town demanded of Joash, "Bring out your son, he must die, because he has broken down Baal's altar and cut down the Asherah pole beside it." But Joash replied to the hostile crowd around him, "Are you going to plead Baal's cause? Are you trying to save him? Whoever fights for him shall be put to death by morning. If Baal really is God, he can defend himself when someone breaks down his altar." So because Gideon broke down Baal's altar, they gave him the name Jerub-Baal that day, saying, "Let Baal contend with him." Now all the Midianites, Amalekites, and other eastern peoples joined forces and crossed over the Jordan and camped in the valley of Jezreel. Then the Spirit of the Lord came on Gideon, and he blew a trumpet, summoning the Abiezrites to follow him. He sent messengers through Manasseh, calling them to arms, and also into Asher, Zebulun, and Naphtali, so that they too went up to meet him. Gideon said to God, "If you will save Israel by my hand as you have promised, look, I will place a wood fleece on the threshing floor. If there is dew, only on the fleece, and all on the if there is dew, only on the fleece, and all the ground is dry, then I will know that you will save Israel by my hand, as you said." And that is what happened. If Gideon rose early the next day, he squeezed the fleece, wrung out the dew, a bowl full of water. Come on, page. A bowl full of water. Then Gideon said to God, "Do not be angry with me. Let me make just one more request. Allow me one more test with the fleece, but this time make the fleece dry and let the ground be covered with dew." That night God did so. Only the fleece was dry. All the ground was covered with dew. Chapter 7, our last chapter reading for today. Gideon defeats the Midianites. Early in the morning, Jerubbaal, that is Gideon, and all his men camped at the spring of Harod. The camp of Midian was north of them in the valley near the hill of Moreh. The Lord said to Gideon, "You have too many men. I cannot deliver Midian into their hands, or Israel will boast against me. My own strength has saved me. Now announce to the army, anyone who trembles with fear may turn back and leave Mount Gilead." So 22,000 men left, while 10,000 remained. But the Lord said to Gideon, "There are still too many men. Take them down to the water, and I will thin them out for you there. If I say this one shall go with you, he shall go. But if I say this one shall not go with you, he shall not go." So Gideon took the men down to the water. There the Lord told him, "Separate those men who lap the water with their tongues as dogs lap from those who kneel down to drink." 300 of them drank from cupped hands, lapping like dogs. All the rest got down on their knees to drink. The Lord said to Gideon, "With the 300 men that I lapped, I will save 3,000." I'm sorry. The Lord said to Gideon, "With the 300 men that lapped, I will save you and give the Midianites into your hands. Let all the others go home." So Gideon sent the rest of the Israelites home, but kept the 300 who took over the provisions and trumpets of others. Now the camp of Midian lay below him in the valley. During that night, the Lord said to Gideon, "Get up, go down against the camp, because I am going to give it into your hands. If you are afraid to attack, go down to the camp with your servant Parah and listen to what they are saying. Afterward, you will be encouraged to attack the camp." So he and Parah, his servant, went down to the outposts of the camp. The Midianites, the Amalekites, and all the other eastern people had settled in the valley, thick as locusts. Their camels could no more be counted than the sand on the seashore. Gideon arrived just as a man was telling a friend his dream. "I had a dream," he was saying. "A round loaf of barley bread came tumbling into the Midianite camp. It struck the tent with such force that the tent overturned and collapsed." His friend responded, "This can be nothing other than the sword of Gideon, son of Joash, the Israelite. God has given the Midianites and the whole camp into his hands." When Gideon heard the dream and its interpretation, he bowed down and worshiped. Okay, we in the middle of the war, honey, but he got time to worship. You better go ahead, Gideon. He returned to the camp of Israel and called out, "Get up! The Lord has given the Midianites into your hands." Dividing the 300 men into 3 companies, he placed trumpets and empty jars in the hands of all of them with torches inside. "Watch me," he told them. "Follow my lead. When I get to the edge of the camp, do exactly as I do. When I and all who are with me blow our trumpets, then from all around the camp blow yours and shout for the Lord and for Gideon." Gideon and the 100 men with him reached the edge of the camp at the beginning of the middle watch, just after they had changed the guard. They blew their trumpets and broke the jars that were in their hands. The 3 companies blew the trumpets and smashed the jars, grasping the torches in their left hands and holding in their right hands the trumpets they were to blow. They shouted, "A sword for the Lord and for Gideon." While each man held his position around the camp, all the Midianites crying out as they fled. When the 300 trumpets sounded, the Lord caused the men throughout the camp to turn on each other with their swords. The armies fled to Beth Shittah toward Zerah, as far as the border of Abel Maloah near Tabath. Israelites from Naphtali, Asher, and all Manasseh were called out, and they pursued the Midianites. Gideon sent messengers throughout the hill country of Ephraim, saying, "Come down against the Midianites and seize the waters of Jordan ahead of them as far as Beth Barah." So the men of Ephraim were called out, and they seized the waters of the Jordan as far as Beth Barah. They also captured two of the Midianite leaders, Oreb and Zeb. They killed Oreb at the rock of Oreb and Zeb at the winepress of Zeb. They pursued the Midianites and brought the hands of Oreb and Zeb to Gideon, who was by the Jordan. Well, may the Lord add a blessing to the reading of his word. I told you it was getting gooder and gooder. Wow, what a battle. What a journey, to trust God, to believe God. How God uses people who don't seem to be ready for what he's asking them to do. They are far from. He says, "I'm the least of my tribe." And I'm the lesser. And you calling me to do it. But when God says that it can be done, it can be done. How he faced the angel of the Lord and wasn't really even sure it was the angel of the Lord. How he had to ask God to show him signs. I mean, it was just action packed from beginning to end, and so many lessons for us, and so many comparisons to us in our own life. How many of you have God asked to do something, and you're like, "I'm the lesser. You sure you're talking to the right person?" How many of us have had to ask God for a sign? How many of us who face God, his messengers, and not realize that it was really God that spoke to us, and you figure that out later on. But oh, the pleasures and the joys of listening to God and following his instructions, and how things work out so right when you do. Well, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and ring that notification bell so you know every time I upload a new video. Thank you so much for joining me, for sticking in there with us. We are a quarter of the way in our videos. This is amazing because we got 365 videos and we are a quarter of the way in. This is awesome. This is wonderful. I'm so proud of you. Why don't you, in celebration of being a quarter of the way through, tell somebody else about this read through the Bible. Invite somebody else. Why don't you post it on your social media to say, "Hey, we are reading, post day one. We are reading through the Bible." Post that link. If you can't find day one, that link, post this link. And share this with someone else, because there's someone who's saying, "Yeah, I will definitely read through the Bible." Some for spiritual reasons, some for literature reasons, some for curiosity, some just to say, "I did it." But all in all, I believe you're going to be blessed when this is all said and done. And throughout, you're going to be blessed. Well, I've got to go, but you can visit me on the web, which is www.tonihendersonmayers.com. Remember, it's TONI, okay? And you can go to that website to see what I'm doing. I'm acting, I'm performing. You can find out what I'm doing around the world. You can ask me to come and speak for you. I speak at churches, corporations, whatever. Make sure you reach out to me in that way. And as we move along, I'll start doing some live and maybe also do some activities throughout the year where you can meet me around these United States and outside the country. If you want me to come, honey, or plan something, we sure can do it. Nothing stopping us, because if Gideon can do this, we sure can do that. All right. Yes, indeed. Well, I've got to go. I got to go. I know something too, but I don't know what all that is right now because I'm done 3 broadcasts. We had church. I'm tired. I got to go wash my face and get back in tomboy gear. And I got to go. And I know you do too. Just know that the word of God is a lamp unto our feet. It's a light unto our path. We will hide God's word in our hearts that we may not sin against God. Take care, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye, and congratulations. Hey there, thank you so much for checking out my video, and I want you to check out my website at ToniHendersonMayers.com. You can find out about me in film and stage. You can also find out about the wise courtship philosophy and everything that I do speaking across the country and the book that I've written. And of course, you can go on to my online store where you can learn a lot of information about business, get coaching sessions, online courses, and so much more. Not only that, I have an Etsy store, which the website of all of these things are in my description. So make sure you go to my Etsy shop, which is called Faith, Hope, and Love Center. Make sure you go to that so you can get t-shirts, and I'm adding things every day, t-shirts, mugs, masks, all types of things into the link that's going to take you to all of the books that we're using pretty much in our Read Through the Bible series. So here are the journals. This reflection journal is so that you can write and take notes. And this one has a lot of study information and will help you keep organized as you're studying the Bible. This is the Bible that I read from, the NIV Study Bible. Of course, Wise Courtship is here, and some of the other books that I wrote, Yes, God is Real, and also I Rise, Stories of Triumph. It's just a great encouragement tool. So walk on over to the stores and give us some support. I think you're going to be blessed by the products. Take care.